that.
You should have
We
joined.
always,
We're back on. We're back on.
We always want to make it like we think
back
like
That is
better
so
is so subjective,
That is so
right?
unrealistic. When I say positive, that means for myself.
Yeah.
Fuck how everybody else feels about that.
Right.
I feel good about myself, but that doesn't mean I feel
So
like
that's
sunshine
about
up in here.
you.
That's about me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But before I walked in here, I was so silly to the point I'm cracking jokes on every single thing. When I came in here, I became a product of my environment. You have to be able to adapt to every single surrounding you come
not
to.
everybody can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, well,
Yeah, that's really as one of the strengths you have, but not everybody can do that.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Of course, and I would not try to think to some degree or fool myself to think that everybody would be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the trick to it is to understand that I know I have to be able to do this, and that I can come around. So therefore, if I come into an aura, like I said, I came in here business. I came in here serious.
Right.
If you had that type of aura where you were negative, I'm not about to be, hey, let's go for that walk. No, that's stupid. That's stupid.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Being able to adapt to a situation without having to be able to control the situation and still be able to help the situation.
So we're moving outside of controlling other people. I just want to clear this up for listeners.
Yeah.
Are we?
Yeah. I think so. We've moved. Let's define it. Let's define
Yeah,
Let's
that
define
bell
it.
always helps.
Round 3. What are we talking about?
Can I tell a little joke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to tell? I want to hear
Okay.
this joke. Let's do it.
So there was this farmer, right? And he goes to God, and he says to God, he says, look, don't worry. Like, I know what I'm doing. You go on and, focus on other things. I am the farmer. I know when to make the sun shine. I know when to make it rain. I know how to do all that. So I'm just going to take over that. You go on and tend to other things.
Do that.
God's like, great. He's been a farmer. Let him do it. So, the farmer was growing maize. And he would make the sun shine. He made it rain. He made it perfect, like for his crop. Well, now it came time to harvest. He's got beautiful, beautiful maize, right? And so they harvest it, and when they open it up, there's no grains inside.
Oh.
No grains inside. So he's like, what happened? He goes to God and he goes, I got this beautiful crop, but there's no grain inside. And God goes, you forgot something very important. You forgot the winds. Because when I push the winds through, they strengthen the plant, because the plant has to fight against the winds. It makes the roots go deeper, and then the grain is just like bountiful. So when we think that we know what we're doing, and we don't. Because, and it may look beautiful in that moment, but when you open it up, really, there's nothing there of value. So the reason I told that is because it's we think we know the situation, we think we know somebody else, we think we know what they want, but actually we know nothing. We don't even know ourselves. How can we know what somebody else is going through? Seriously. We need to really focus, really. I love what you said about, it makes me feel good, right? It's all about you working on yourself, and it's all about me working on myself, and all about all of us, really being really responsible for ourselves. So that whole thing of, I think it's your presence. Like the sun just shines. It doesn't have to say, I'm the sun, I'm the heat. It just does what it's doing, and it does it regardless of what is there. So I kind of get that feeling like you can just be the sun wherever you are, right? Just shine, just shine. That's it. That's it.
Peace.
And for some people, that is not going to work. They're going to be so offended by that because you're happy. They probably won't trust you because you're happy.
Back up a little bit.
Right?
We're getting it back.
They probably won't trust you because they're happy, because they're probably like, he's probably up to some no good. He's probably wanting something from me. Some people will think like that.
Can you scoot back a little?
But the best thing about that?
I mean, twist that way. There we go.
Yeah, so
there we go. Yeah, there we go.
you go.
I mean, but real talk, I need that, because it helps me identify what's actually in front of me. I don't have to know you. You're going to show it to me. That's the nature of everything.
Yeah.
If I was standing right here, I don't have to call your name to come downstairs. You want to come downstairs when you want to.
Sure. Lee. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay.
Well, let me make a point to that. I think balance is the most important element to it, right? I think that it's easy when people get wrapped up in their ideology about who I am and what I represent. It's easy for us to go, I'm more of a force of nature. I make things happen. I'm a controller. I make things. I control the things that happen in my life. And then it's also easy to go, the world will take care of it. Things will be as they are, and things will happen. I think if you swing too far in any direction, what happens is you don't take control when you need to take control.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Or you start controlling things and you fuck everything up because
Exactly.
you're not perfect.
Yep.
Both extremes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Like, because there are times, like, when you're working out, that's a great example. When you're working out, you need to know you need to take control of a lot of things. You need to know how to lift things.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know how to do things so you don't.
And when to stop.
When to injure your body. When to stop. You need to make those conscious choices. You need to make those controlling choices to ensure that you do the proper things. But if you were controlling everything, you wouldn't know how to control your heartbeat.
Right.
You wouldn't know how to control your breathing necessarily. Some ways you can. Yoga kind of teaches a little bit about that. But your body, there's a part of you that has to relinquish control. That you can't control. And if I guarantee you, go to the gym and try to control everything that you're doing that happens with your body, and you're going to screw up. It is.
Impossible.
It is. But then also go to the gym and just try to, you'll get nothing done. So I think the important thing is about balance. And that's we were talking a little bit about that with Brian, where it's like, you go into a situation and or at least I was thinking about it, we were talking to Brian, but you can go into a situation and it's like, well, you take a look at a guy like him he had this mindset of always accomplish, always get things done, to create business. It's easy to see, excuse me, my nose. It's easy to see his outcome, to see, well, he got into so much trouble. He got addicted to drugs. He was in legal troubles. What he did was bad. Don't follow in his footsteps. But there are a lot of things that he did do that were successful. There are a lot of things that, that were embedded in his behavior that could lead to a form of success. So it's really important to learn from those elements and to not say, we can't implement things of like trying to control or influence other people. Because there are times where we should try to implement influence on other people, especially the weak-minded or the people that are going to try to do us harm. Like you were saying, if you encounter a serial killer, if you have a strong enough mindset, you might be able to influence them into not, chopping you up. To some degree, or whatever the case may be. But then also, I think that we can learn this again looking at our penile system. I think there's too much control there. It's too much of, I'm going to do this and you're going to do this or else. And people tend to shut down when you do that. Yeah. So in that case, it's really about understanding the dynamics of the human being. Understanding, and I think I'm sure you've encountered this as a psychologist, when you're dealing with a patient, you have to gauge them first. You have to get them to a place where they'll then give you control. You can't walk in and say, you're going to get better by doing this, by doing this, by doing this, because what's going to happen?
They're going to reject you.
They're going to reject you. They're going to shut down. They're going to shut down. So I'm sure you've discovered that in your...
Well, first I have to find out what their goals are.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And then I have to, because it's not about me, it's not about what I want for them.
Right.
Because they may not want what I want for them.
What if they don't have any goals? What do you do next?
That's okay.
That's a good question.
That's okay. If they don't have any goals, that's okay.
Mm.
That's perfectly fine.
Why?
Because
what do you do next, though? How do you better get somebody to open up to where they need to be able to make changes for themselves if they don't know what to do next?
Well, obviously their life isn't working very well. That's why they've taken the help. So obviously they do have some goals. Maybe they don't define them.
Okay.
Right? So you help them to see, it doesn't, see, everybody, looks at it differently. Some people have to write everything down. Some people don't write anything down.
Yeah, it's like me. I'm writing.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? So somebody else who writes things down would be like, he doesn't really have any concrete goals. He doesn't write anything down. He doesn't follow the schedule. He doesn't have objectives. He doesn't have tasks, So they would look at yours and go, that's not, those are just dreams he has in his head, right? So what I'm saying is everybody's got a different degree. Some people do have it, but they don't really define it like that. So you would just work with that. You would just work with the way that they're doing it and see if they want to do it differently.
Do you help them find a goal?
Do I help them find a goal? If that's what they're ready for. Yeah.
So in other words, you help influence them to find a goal.
I don't necessarily, like I said, I don't necessarily feel like that's not my goal, is to go in there and influence them, because then, once they pick up on that, they don't want to be in there.
See, to me, I've always thought that's the whole role of psychiatrist is for. To help influence me to think a different type of way.
It's to get you to the point where you're influencing yourself. Obviously, the reason maybe that you're having some difficulties in life is because you're not able to influence yourself. You're not able to really, look at yourself and make the decisions. Your mind is split. Your mind is like, you want good things in life, but you're not able to stick to it to be able to achieve what you want to achieve.
So your job is to help show me how to get there, right?
My job is to show you how you can be an influence in your own life.
That itself is an influence. That itself is also another form of control. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying.
No, it's just funny.
Tell me I'm lying, though.
It's funny.
You're, because you're help changing my ideology of what I didn't
But see,
acknowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
But this person is coming to me. I'm not going out there to
It doesn't make a
person.
difference.
It
As
makes
long
a
as you
huge
two... No,
difference.
it doesn't. Because they understood...
It makes a huge
No.
difference.
Hear me
Because
out.
there's a contract.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
Hear me out. Knowing the nature of something is know how to control it. I know your job...
Wait, say that again?
Knowing the nature of something is knowing how to control it. It's that simple in life. I know your job is to help me. So I'm going to come to you so you can help me think a better way for myself to control my own life.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around knowing the nature of something
is know how to
is
control
knowing
it.
how to control it.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
goes
Okay,
down-
see, we have to really, again, we have to go back to the distinction of,
Yeah.
is it material things?
Yeah.
Or are we talking about people?
Yeah.
That's everything.
People is very different. People...
I gotta agree with Raj.
That's
guys.
everything.
I gotta agree with Raj.
That's everything. She understands the nature of
Relationships are
how to
different.
have a certain conversation can bring the best out of you that you already
Let me
have.
ask you something, man. An honest question.
Hmm?
As a man,
Mhm.
you've dealt with plenty of women in your lifetime. Do you honestly feel like you have control over the women in your life?
I think that I have control of a lot of different situations out of it.
No. I'm not asking about situations. I'm asking about the people themselves.
I believe to some degree, yes. That's a yes and a no.
Okay.
That's a yes and no
Okay.
because you cannot dictate what somebody's going to do, period. But you can control a situation. If you was to go upstairs right now and be like, hey, wife, can you make me a sandwich?
Yeah, but let me say something. But like, let's say you're at home and your wife is pissed off at you, and then you go, "Hey, can you make me a sandwich?" Fuck you.
but that's not for everybody because some wives will still go do it even though they mad at you.
Yeah, I would say the majority probably not.
But some
Probably.
do. Some do.
There are fringe cases in every scenario, but I think that we don't have that kind of control over each
But
other.
you know what another thing with
I
that is though?
think people have been trying to figure each other out for millennia, and it just
You know what the biggest thing about that though is? You know what arguments that you're going through that she would say yes to certain things and she would say no to certain things. You know the degree of how mad she is, what she's going to be willing to do for you.
yeah. But let me ask you. I mean, in the implementation of your own life, have you figured that out yet, though?
That's not my job to.
Some women aren't as
I'm serious.
submissive as others.
Yeah.
Like there are some women that
Yeah.
would still do for their
Right.
boyfriend or their fiance or their husband, even though they married, and some that'd be like whatever.
And so I'll throw you that bone in this discussion. With a submissive person, if they're handing the control over to you, sure, you've got exactly.
Like I said, it's going to be accidental.
It's gonna- yeah.
Sometimes it's going to work,
Plus,
and sometimes
those
it's not.
fucking cousin. We know each other, man. I know some things that you've
Yeah.
been through. You know what I've been through. Let me tell you, the hardest thing is like you're sitting there, you go, "Why the hell is she doing this? Why?" And she's going, "Why the hell is he doing this?" Or she's like, "You know what? I can't believe he said this to me. This is blah 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 blah." She's not rational. She's not thinking about stuff. Or it could be the guys too. The guys do. But the thing is that when you're irate, when you're flustered, it's that analogy of the car. You're not seeing all things. You're just seeing, I'm going in this direction, and you're not listening to anybody. You're not trying to. You don't want. And the more someone tries to control you, the faster you hit that pedal. That's the absence of control. It takes someone having control over themselves to say, you know what, let me pull into this parking lot. Let me get off the road real quick. Because I'm not looking at the road entire. It takes someone relinquishing that control. And that's not control in your hands. That's controlling someone else's.
I understand that, but I really do honestly believe in this. You knew what the fuck you were getting to before you got there.
An argument? Nah, I don't think so.
No, I'm not talking about argument. If you know you got an argumentative woman, chances are you know you're gonna argue a lot. If you know you have a submissive woman, chances are you know she's gonna give in a lot.
Yeah, but what about the people in the middle?
Oh,
There's no. Yeah, I don't.
I'm just saying though, because people know what the fuck they're doing. If I went and bought a $300 car that's a hoopty, I'm not going to drive down to Texas with this. I know chances are it's going to break before I even get down there. Even if I still choose to do it.
You're someone who calculates what you're doing. There are a lot of people who are influenced by, let me just do this. I'm not going to think of if I can do it. Let me just, whatever.
Okay.
I'm just going to give it a shot.
I'm going to give you an example.
Nice.
I'm going to give you actually a couple of them.
All right.
When my son died, I grabbed a stolen car with a bad plate.
Careful
no
what
ID.
you say on camera.
it's way years old. No ID. And drove down there.
Mm-hmm.
Point blank period.
Okay. All right.
I controlled that situation. Okay. But I knew that car was going to get there.
Okay.
Now, let's say another situation. Just last week.
That's not a relationship, though. See,
Yeah.
so we can.
Well, I know. I'm about to
That's
talk about the relationship right now.
Okay.
I'm just talking about because there's so many different things that you can talk about that you do know before you get to it. That is what it is.
You also gotta look at the frame of mind too. But okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
2 weekends ago, literally 2 weekends ago, I'm with my friend. He has a girlfriend that he knows loves him to death. Submissive woman. They not arguing, none of that. But he wants to get his way. But he knows she's a submissive woman. So he comes to her, it's like, hey, you gonna fuck me and him this weekend, ain't you? What you think she said?
I don't know the girl. I gotta be honest.
She's a submissive woman.
I don't know. It
She
depends.
said, hell yes.
Oh, okay.
Instantly.
Okay.
But he knew she was going to do that before he even asked. Because he knew what he was getting. He knew what the fuck he had. Have an understanding of what it is.
Yeah.
Helps you decide what happens next. Know the nature of something, knowing how to control it.
But
First of all, love and submissiveness, they don't go together in the same sentence.
Well, that's a whole different
Okay.
topic. That's a whole different topic.
I
though.
know. But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is just to make that distinction. Love and submissiveness do not. Because if somebody's submissive, they're not able to be themselves. They're not able to express what they want to express. They don't feel worthy enough to be able to speak to the person. What kind of crazy love is that? Okay. The second thing is,
There's a lot going on.
you know, okay, you go ahead with the next one.
There's a lot going on with what you just said.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's go
Go
back
ahead,
to
Marquise.
let's
You
go
go
back
next.
to this guy said you're gonna have sex with me and her in this.
And the same thing. But
well, hold a second. One, in that position, we're not dealing with the average individual.
it doesn't matter.
Well, but no.
The point is.
It does matter.
No. Because the whole point was he knew she was going to do it before he asked. That's what I'm saying. You know what the fuck you have in front of you before it gets to that part.
there are fringe cases all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you walk into this neighborhood with, let's say there are at least 5,000 people in this neighborhood. You take a sample size of the amount of people that would say, you know, honey, we're gonna swing it out today, and there are swingers out there.
Mm-hmm.
Sample size, you'll get maybe 1%, maybe 1%. That is an extreme fringe case. And in that regard, the people under those circumstances, no offense to swingers, the people under those circumstances, they're not. There are a lot of things that kind of go into someone's mindset that's okay with doing that. There's just a lot that goes into it, and a lot that's not what I would call stable. Not to say that there aren't stable swingers in the world, but someone who just says, you know what, you told me to do that, I'm gonna do it. They're probably going through a lot. So the frame of mind has a lot to do with it.
I understand that, but that's my whole point of what I'm saying.
They're gonna cheat either way it goes, so that they okay with it.
But that's still part of what I'm saying, though.
Well,
You knew what it was before it got there.
Point? Let me ask you that. What do
Okay,
you,
let's
Yeah,
say.
let's bring this conversation back to the
Let's
beginning,
let's keep
okay?
It focused. Let's
So
keep it focused.
what I'm hearing you say, Stephen,
If you date
is
a
that-
crackhead, they're going to do crack one day while you're with them.
yeah,
But you knew you were dating a crackhead.
Well, but we're talking about
But-
control.
yeah,
though.
so-
We're talking about control and
I
being
mean,
able to
that-
control people.
That
versus
kind of
it.
goes the same thing. All right, so let's say
I
I date
don't
a
get
crack. All right,
balance.
let's say I date a
Yeah.
crackhead. I want you to wash the dishes. Hey, here's some crack. You can wash some dishes. You just controlled that whole situation.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they're
that's
art
called
kids.
that's
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. That,
different.
you see how automatically you knew they were going to do that. That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
but hold on a second.
that's bribery.
Remove the crack out of the situation.
That's not control. That's bribery.
Well, and there are chemical alterations to the brain in that they're not functioning properly. Their wires are crossed. Their
That's-
wires are in different. I mean, really, that's just. You don't think so?
And plus, okay,
That's not
let's-
what I'm saying,
If
though.
you take that
Well, but
out,
that's an element
but
to it, though.
it's called bribery. Like when you give somebody something and say, "Do this."
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be the technical term, but what I'm saying,
you're
that's
using
part of
their-
what I'm saying as far as the definition of knowing the nature of something and know how to control it.
Well,
That's what I'm
okay,
saying.
Okay,
That's-
so let's
that's-
Why
say.
do you want? Okay, let me ask
It's
you
not-
this.
it's not that
Why
I want
do
to
you
control it.
Why
I
do
knew he
you
was gonna
want?
ask me that.
Why do you want to control
I knew it.
another person, or
That's a
why do you
valid
want
question.
to?
Yes.
Why do you want to control another person?
You see-
Let me ask you that.
The difference in what I think you're asking me is, do you think that I have this ideology that I know I can control whatever the hell I wish? That's not what it is.
Well, no. Let's
It's
frame.
nowhere
Let me
near
reframe
what it is.
her question.
Okay.
what I
Let-
am saying is,
Well, hold on. So let me reframe her question because I don't think that's what she's saying. She's saying in general, why would a person want to do this particular thing? Not you specifically.
Yeah, just why? Yeah, why would one human being want to control
Yeah.
another human being?
that's human nature.
Okay.
Not
It
for
is.
everyone. Okay,
it is.
maybe, but not for everyone. See, we never want to generalize. So for you, we're just talking about you now. Why do you think one human being would want to control another human being? What would be the benefit? Because
I mean,
I'll be
that's-
real
that's a-
honest. I mean,
I mean, that
I don't have a
depends on
desire
that-
to control another human being.
I mean,
so.
that's why you don't really know the answer to that question.
Well, I think she just asked.
But
it.
I'm
I think
just
she
saying-
I mean,
you're saying
I won't know the
nature.
answer to that question because I don't fit that either.
Well,
You see what I'm saying?
I don't know.
I don't have this thing of wanting to control someone. I just understand that is a nature that's out. That's it.
Yeah, there are people that want to control other human
Exactly.
beings.
But
yeah.
that's not
that's why I say it's
yeah.
human nature. It's not for everybody to do. If you're a controlling factor,
Yeah.
you would have an answer for that.
Well, let me
I
say let me
don't.
say this. Sure, I think it's a fair assessment that as humans, we do want the brain wants to control
Yes,
its surrounding and its
absolutely.
circumstances.
Human nature.
No, you've got a point on that. Sure, but again, to go back to the point of what we're talking about, can you control other people? I would say I still don't think no, you can't. I think some circumstances, yes, but they have to be preconditioned for it. And that's why I was talking. I was trying to get you to take a step back, because if you're talking about someone who's a crackhead, their brains are wired. Those are brain altering chemicals that adjust you.
That's all fact. But what I'm saying is, by you understanding, by you not being the crackhead and that person is the crackhead, you knowing the nature of what they want, you can control.
But
their
here's the
next move
problem:
off of it.
remove the
That's
crack.
just an example.
But remove the crack. remove the extreme circumstances.
Okay, let's
For
use a different
hold
example.
on a second. Remove the extreme circumstances for the average person. You're not going to get those results. You're going to get the opposite results.
That's only for. You know, this computer
Yeah.
can search the web.
Yeah, it's a computer.
So
it's got precise numbers
Listen
that
to me.
function
Listen,
on a level you
listen
can
to
measure.
me. Listen to me.
Yeah.
Stop thinking. You know, this computer can search the web.
Okay.
So the nature of this is to help you search the web.
Okay.
You can control that now.
So what? It's a computer.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
It's not a person.
But
See,
Steve-
we're
Steve-
trying to
I'm not
make
talking
a
about people
distinction.
right now. I'm
But
just
we're
talking
talking.
about.
But there's a difference though. When we go back to people, here's the difference. This machine, Apple, you better start funding us. This machine, all right, has been carefully crafted under extreme precision and with microscopes, data to perform the exact same under every circumstance. People are different.
Duh.
Well,
I'm not saying that you're.
And
That's
you
not
can't
true.
control the majority of people. You can influence
I never
them.
once said that you can. I don't know why y'all keep saying that. I
Because-
never once said that you
okay.
can.
That's not what I heard,
No,
but okay,
listen. Because
okay,
when we
alright.
talked about the commercials and what they did, I said,
Yeah.
I'll blank. You can rewind it. You cannot control the mass people like that. You cannot. But if it was on a one-on-one situation,
I'm talking on
you
a
can
one-on-one.
you
I'm
can
talking on a
influence.
one- on a one-
Okay,
one-
so once again,
Influence.
Okay, so once again,
No,
knowing the
we
nature of
agreed
something.
from the beginning. We
Yeah.
we
If it was
established
one-on-one.
that. Well, no, hold on a second. From the beginning, we did establish that you can influence. Everyone was in agreement with that.
that's a form of control to me.
But that's why we set the terms in the beginning. There's a difference. We're setting a difference between control and a difference between influence. If we're talking about purely influencing people, of course, that your very presence influences someone.
Inspire.
Yeah.
Inspiration is the
Yeah.
word that I like to think
Yeah, that's
of,
nice.
rather than just like who you are.
Right.
You're just a walking, like whoever you are. It speaks. Your energy precedes you.
Yeah.
And you can just inspire, but it's not your thing. It's the other person who's open and wants to be inspired.
I mean,
right?
you
I
can
get that.
influence people in the opposite too, though. You can influence people in the negative, by all means.
no,
yeah.
that's not inspiration.
Well, no, but of course not.
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
that's
no,
that's that
yeah.
again. That's a
Yeah,
form
yeah.
of again. That's a form of control.
I'm trying to level the playing field
because you're
with what
trying
we're
to do
talking
it,
about.
for your own benefit somehow.
Right, and that's kind of why you were asking the question: why
Right.
would you want to control someone, anyways?
Right.
But
Sometimes you need to.
Sure, but to stay
Why?
on to
Why? Let's go with that. Why? Why do you need to?
you
Better
keep sparking
organization.
together.
Huh?
Better organization. I mean, I'm gonna talk freely. The church controls you. It brought organization and structure to a whole different form of chaos that eliminated it.
But it also created a lot of chaos, right? There have been more murders done through,
But weren't they all still controlled?
organized religion.
Actually, they were influenced. I
they
wouldn't
were
say controlled.
Yeah, they
Well,
were
after a while,
influenced.
yeah, after a while, you're pretty much programmed in your head to go to church, to pray. When you get in trouble, for some people, the first thing they do is what?
Okay,
Ask God.
I've got an idea to elicit my point.
Okay.
Forgive the banana.
Uh-oh. Where's my banana?
Upstairs, man. Here's the difference, all right, between control and influence. I'm not going to influence my computer. I'm going to control it. Because if I press the button 1,000 times in this computer, it's gonna function. As long as it's a functioning computer, and the computer we're defining as a whole operating powered piece of equipment. I press the buttons, it will have the same response every time. That's not influence, that's control.
Duh.
Influence is, it's not going to respond the same time, but I have to find a way to get it to do it. So I've got to perform different. I've got to change my behavior in different ways based on the condition of the computer.
Maybe you have to change the software. You have to do something.
Everything. F isn't the F key. The F key isn't always the F key. The F key might be the S key sometimes. But to influence it to get the F key to be the F key as often as possible, I have to press a certain sequence of buttons to then kind of get it. But they're never always the same. That's the difference between influence and control.
I know that.
But that's what we're. I think that's kind of we're kind of on the same page with that. When it comes to people are never like a computer. Never.
Yeah, I know that.
Never. But that's what we're talking about. So for the sake of more confusion. That's the difference, and that's
even one-on-one.
Yeah,
Even
one-on-one. Yeah.
But I know that though.
Yeah. Well, but that's what we're saying though. So
Yeah.
that's the difference versus, of course, if we're gonna say that control is influence or influence is control, then there was just never a need for the discussion. But if we're talking about the difference between control and influence, it's completely different. So that's the difference. 'Cause you brought up some points like nature controls.
Yeah, knowing the nature of something, know how to control it, and that's still a factual to me. Regardless if you guys understand that or not, doesn't matter.
Well,
because that's what I live by.
I think that but what that is that's ideology, and that's a great saying, but it doesn't apply to every situation. I mean, it really doesn't.
No, it's not supposed to.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, just for the sake of the discussion itself.
But it's not supposed to. You're not supposed to know the nature of every single thing.
No. What I'm saying, I'm not negating what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is, that doesn't really answer. That's a great quote, but when it comes to actually dealing with people on a day-to-day basis, I think that the majority of people on Earth would love to have control over people, but no one can, because we're human and we're very unpredictable. I think that's my point when it comes to the discussion.
I'm not.
It's kind of like those. I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is, what? How does that go? Oh, so give me the good news first. Well, the good news is that you can control yourself.
Yeah.
What's the bad news? You can't control anybody else. Then what's the good news? Well, the good news is that no one can control you. That means either, right? So it's kind of like
sometimes you can control yourself.
I think somewhere in here,